Alrighty, folks. Hello and welcome in. Welcome to Adobe Live. My name is VooDoo Val, and I am here this morning, or afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, to teach a new Photoshop challenge. I'm super excited. I hope all of you folks are pumped and eager to get started for the morning. If you would like to join in with me, please feel free to follow the link in the description below. Download the starter file for today. And we will jump into it. So, what is our challenge for the day? Today is Mood Boards Made Easy, and I'm very excited. I'm going to pop over here to my screen so you folks can see what our files look like. Ta-da! I see so many familiar faces in the chat. Afroja, Sean, Ted, General Kenobi, hello there. I see Frank, Richard, Clarissa, Bruce. It's so good to see all of you folks. Andrew Hawkrattle in the house. It is a party, my friend. Okay, so what are we doing today? Challenge 1, Photoshop Skills Challenge. Kick off your project with a mood board. We'll be creating a mood board of all original pieces using color, type, and shapes. Now, why is this important? I wanted to do this challenge because I'm sure all of you folks have done this before. I know that I have, and that is I make a mood board for a new project. And I have real photos and pieces of inspiration in it, but I make the mistake very often of basing the entire strength of my mood board on those other pieces that I can't use because they're not mine. It's not my photography. They're not my pieces. And when I focus so much on those found assets, sometimes I leave the base of my mood board a little bit lacking. So today we are going to make a mood board based only on things that we've made ourselves. And I've got this really cool image here that kind of shows you what I mean. So I've used color and texture and shapes and fonts and stuff in here to kind of build our mood board. And if you would like to use this as your first step to start your project, you can go from here and add some found assets afterward that you feel fit the mood, but you'll start with a base mood board that is very, very strong. So the first thing we're going to do is I am actually going to kind of recreate this because we're going to use some different colors. You'll see here I have our info group, which you can hide. I have our assets here, which is a background. I've got some samples of little places where you can put color and texture and shapes and things. And then I've got some shapes here, which will serve as our color palette. So I'm just going to go ahead and hide these colors and samples. And the first thing I'm going to do is hit P on my keyboard to access my pen tool. Now, we are not going to use a regular pen tool. We are going to use the Curvature Pen Tool. For all you folks out there who struggle using the pen tool, who can't get those perfect curves in there, try using the Curvature Pen Tool because it's really, really easy to get these nice smooth curves without any kinks or sharp ends and notches in it. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to tap and I'm going to start kind of following this little guide that I've created for you. You can see just how smooth and fancy all of this is. I can create this really nice shape right here for myself. And I might actually come in here and kind of move. Let's go ahead. I'm holding Control or Command if you are on a Mac just to move things around. I can also just select this and kind of move that up just to kind of make sure that that is nice and smooth. Just like that, which I like it. And then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to hit Control-Shift-In or Command-Shift-In if you were on a Mac, and I'm going to just do the same thing here and just kind of move this around just to make myself a nice smooth shape. So I've got these two shapes and I can change the colors of those if I like. I can just hit the shape color, the shape here that I want to change, grab my fill, and I can come in and find a color and I will, let's do like a purple. I know you're all surprised, but let's go ahead and grab like a lavender color for these. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to select, I've already selected this lavender, so it's right there waiting for me. So I have that. I will go ahead and Control-Shift-In again, or Command-Shift-In if you were on a Mac, and I will paint bucket in a background color. Let's go ahead and sample our lavender, grab a brighter lavender here. We'll go ahead and paint bucket that in, so I've got that. And then we'll pull in our colors, just like this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to maybe pull this down actually. If I hit V on my keyboard to access my move tool, I can pull that down just a little bit. Because I kind of want a contrast here of colors. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open my colors. And I'm going to find these colors. I'm going to come up to this one that's at the top here. And I'm going to change all of my colors. We're going to lay out some colors here. These are our mood board colors. And what I'm going to do is grab a brighter purple, like so. Go ahead and hit OK. And then I want to select that and change the color if I can. Let's see. Let me go ahead and, oh, you know what? These are not shapes. These are rasterized layers, and that is fine. So I've got my transparency locked on these, as you can see. So what I can do is I can just grab a brush, any brush, and with the transparency locked, I can very easily select these colors that I have, grab that brighter color, and I can come in and just go ahead and change the colors. If you want to remake these and make them shapes, feel free, but I'm going to go ahead and let's snag this color, and I'm going to put that one in there. We'll snag this purple color and come to the next one, and I will drop that in there. I would like to select a darker color here and kind of lay that out for this fourth one, just like so. And then what I might do is actually start doing a nice variation of color. So we could do what looks good with purple. Green typically looks good with purple. So we'll find like a nice yellowy green, maybe something like this. I don't know if this will work. Maybe something a little bit darker and more saturated. That could be cool. I like that. And then we'll do a dark saturated green and go ahead and throw that down here. So I've got a color palette. I've got purples, I've got greens. I think it looks pretty cool. And I might kind of move my shape down here if I hit V on my keyboard and kind of drag that down just slightly, just to kind of give it some breathing room here. But I've got a nice purple color palette. I've got some greens, which I may change, but I want to have it, you know, I don't want it to be completely, totally purple. I know that's something that no one's expected me to say ever because I love the color purple, but we are going to do some variation. Now, the next thing that we have in here is our samples. And our samples are just these shapes, which I have created, and I've designed them a little bit just to give you kind of an interesting vibe here. Just kind of an idea of how you could make this look a little more interesting. And I'm going to go ahead and lock the transparency on these after I rasterize them. So I will hold Shift and select all of these layers, right click, and I will rasterize these. And then I will hit this little checkerboard icon here to lock the transparency. Now, just in case any of you folks who are following along with me today have never locked transparency on your rasterized layers, basically what this does is whatever is on the layer when you lock the transparency means that if I come in with a brush, for example, on this sample number 3, if I hit B on my keyboard to activate my brush, and I grab, if I hold Alt, I can sample a color. It means that I'm only going to be painting wherever there are already pixels on my layer. So the transparency is locked. I cannot paint anywhere outside of the pixels that have already been placed on that layer, which is very useful if you are able to lay out a shape that is kind of what you want. Then you can come in and kind of color it in however you please. And the way that I made these, just as a quick tutorial of that, is I just grabbed my rectangle tool and I drug out a shape. And then I just pulled the corners in just to round those, and I placed them where I wanted, and then I kind of painted them in. So we've got this. I might actually still change these greens. Let me see if I hit V on my keyboard. I might actually want to try like a rosy color instead of this. Let me see if I can grab like a pink. Maybe a pink would be cool. That looks kind of cool. And maybe a brighter color. If I come up to this one here, maybe I can do something like that, or maybe something darker. that might actually look cooler. And you can kind of experiment finding colors that work for you. You could also go to Adobe Color if you wanted to, because Adobe Color will kind of give you some color palettes which you can use right off the bat. So if I come over here to color.adobe.com, let me just pull my thing over here, you can see that there's all kinds of color palettes which you can add to a library and use the colors from that. You could also upload a photo and extract colors from there if that is how you would like to develop your mood board. So we've got our colors, we've got our background. I'm going to go ahead and color in our samples here with my paint bucket tool. I'll just color them in these. Let me grab my brush. I'm just going to go ahead and color these in with my transparency locked, so I have these nice tiles, and then I am going to mess with my text before I kind of add some nice texture and start painting some things in. So we have our text here. It says Challenge 1, Photoshop Skills Challenge, and then some body text. And I've laid it out this way so that you can select the fonts and things that you want. And you can select 3 different fonts or the same font and use different weights and styles of that font for 3 different purposes. So you have a font to use as like a title header font here. You have a title font and then kind of a header font to use, and then a font to use for body copy. So you can choose what you would like to use for this. I really love Montserrat, and I frequently, in a lot of projects where I don't have a very special font picked out, I like to use different weights of Montserrat. But if you would like to use a different font, you can head over to fonts.adobe.com and you can check out all of these wonderful fonts that we have over here. We've got type kits. We've got all different kinds of like font packs. We have font foundries. We've got recommendations, which you can check out, which is always super, super awesome. One of my favorite things to do, however, is search all of the fonts with the filters, because this allows me, as somebody who is maybe not as well versed as others in selecting fonts, this allows me to search for a font very accurately. So those of you in the chat who are maybe not font type folks, you can come in here and you can look at the images that we have of different types of fonts and search that way. So if I want something that is, I don't know, clean, I like clean fonts, I can select clean and I can come down here and start looking through all of these really, really great fonts. I can start choosing the weights. Maybe I want like a thick weight font, and maybe I want it to be like a medium width, which is pretty cool. And I can just totally come through here and customize all kinds of different things, and then it will give me the fonts that match up what I'm looking for. So I can search visually instead of searching with keywords and things that I am not used to, which is really great. So it's kind of a place where you can find fonts no matter how familiar with fonts you are. And I really actually like this apparat, which is pretty cool. So if you'd like to install a font, you can just go to View Family and it will give you this nice list of all of the different fonts that are available in this typeface, and you can activate fonts individually or you can activate all fonts at once. Go ahead and hit OK. And then it will be waiting for you in Photoshop. So I might stick with Montserrat here, but I'm going to go through and just kind of show what I've got. I am going to change the color of this right quick because this red is really clashing with our design here. And a really quick way to do this is if I select all of my fonts here, just holding Shift, selecting the top and bottommost font that I would like to select, and it selects everything in between. If I hit T on my keyboard, I can come over here and I can sample this color and it will change all of those for me, which is really, really useful. Go ahead and hit OK. I've got all of these selected though, and they're all different sizes and weights. And you can see that it's not showing any of those settings here because they're all separate. So if I kind of flip through here, you can see that I have Montserrat Black selected at a 60 points. I have Montserrat bold selected at a 60 point, and then I have Montserrat medium selected at a 24 point, just to give me a really nice kind of variation of fonts. If I wanted to, I could even change like my copy to white, or maybe it would look better if I changed my title font to white, just so it really sticks out there, which is kind of a cool way to go about things. I really like it. And the last thing I'd like to do is kind of get in here with some texture and some color and create a variation of all of the different elements that I've placed in here. I'm going to do a quick recap just to kind of give everyone an update. If you folks are filing in, please remember to click the link in the description below. You can download the starter file and work along with me. What we've done is we have taken our starter file and we've created all of these cool shapes here on the edge just to give our mood board, which is what we're creating today, kind of a fun, fancy look. We've come into our color samples and we've changed our colors so that we have a little color palette over here on the side that is a little bit stylized. We have gone over kind of creating these little shapes which will serve as color combinations or little designs that we will make for our mood board. And we've gone over just the overall look of how all of this comes together. Now, the reason why we're setting all of this up is because if you make a mood board like this, not only could you put this in a case study so it looks really, really nice as a presentation, I wanted to take this approach to creating mood boards so that those of you who have maybe had trouble in the past with your projects where you make your mood board and then your final project doesn't come out really looking as great as you thought it would, maybe this will help. A problem that I've run into many, many times in my creative career is creating a mood board and basing that mood board so heavily on found assets without building a solid base of the atmosphere and vibe and theme of my project, the colors, the fonts, and all of those things not being as strong compared to the cool pictures that I chose, that it just didn't really work out. So we're starting with the base, with the bare bones, with all of those basics first. And then if you'd like to turn this into a full project, add your found assets later. Get these things down, and I think that you will have a lot more success really managing to convey and hit home with that theme you're going for your project. So we are now going to get into some cool coloring. I'm going to use my handy dandy noise brush because it's one of my most favorite things to do. So I will show you real quickly how I do that. So let me see if I can get yeah, here we go. Select my background layer. With my brush selected, which I've just hit B on my keyboard, I'm going to right click to access my brushes, and I'm going to select a soft round pressure opacity brush, which is default in Photoshop, so you will all have this. I'm going to come up to mode and hit dissolve, and you can see if I zoom in here, it gives me just a really nice kind of noisy look to my my brush there. And what I'm going to do is I'm really just using my mouse here, so if you have a mouse or a stylus, you can do this, and I'm going to grab this bright color here, and I'm just going to start tapping just to really make this look interesting. We'll maybe snag some of this color here, and I could come in and add a little bit of variation like so, which I think is really cool. We'll snag this darker color, and what I'm doing is I'm just trying to make these elements not look flat. We want something that is a little more interesting happening here, something that will look cool when we place this into our case study later. If you're going to be using this as a main project, I just want to add a little bit of oomph, a little bit of something to this mood board to make it spicy. If a design could be spicy. So we've got that in the background. We'll come over here. I'm going to go ahead and right click these shapes and I'm going to rasterize them. I'm going to go ahead and rasterize these layers, transforming them from shapes into pixel layers. And then I'm going to go ahead and lock the transparency for these. And then with my brush, I will come in and do a similar thing. Let's go ahead and select this dark purple. And I'm going to go ahead and put this dark purple in over here. I've just made my brush larger with the left and right bracket keys just to kind of give it a little variation. Like there's a shadow over here on the side. And then I will grab, I think, this color, and we will kind of start, I'm just dabbing color. I'm just clicking and pressing color into the edge of this just to make it look interesting. Grab some more of this dark color. And I will actually hit F on my keyboard to enter the second view of Photoshop so I can freeform grab and drag my my image around. I think we've got about 5 minutes left here, which I think we can get everything done in time. And with this dark color, I will go ahead and dab some dark here. It kind of blends in a little bit with this color that I've added to the background, which I do really like. I think that's kind of a nice touch. We'll take this light color and kind of give this some more variation here, I think, and it kind of blends that corner down in there. Just experiment, just have a little bit of fun. And then we can do the same thing with our samples. So I can come over here to our samples, I can grab our dark color, and I'm gonna kind of contrast it. So this dark color is most common over here in the corner, so I'll put it up here so it contrasts a little bit with that. And I can do the same thing over here. We've got this dark color here, so maybe we'll do this on the side and kind of add a little bit of that. And then over here, maybe we'll put this in the corner up here to contrast with this lighter purple. And it's just fun. Just play around, add some cool colors. Maybe we'll come in here on the corner and kind of brighten that right there. Just kind of dab and dab a little bit. Little dab right here too, if I can select that properly. Go ahead and dab some brightness there. Then it adds kind of a cool contrast, like so. And if you like, you can come and do what I did on my previous example, is add some shapes. You could also make these different color combinations. So I've kind of made them all the same, but maybe if I come in here to the second one, maybe I'll add a brighter color to all of this. Maybe this one has more of the purples in here just to kind of show a difference of color. Maybe this one is maybe this is all red. You know, maybe this one is just a red, and we can dab some dark reddish rose in here, and maybe this is just a red tile, and these are color combinations that I will use in my project. You can feel free to add any other modules or ideas, things that you feel might inspire your project to this, but I challenge you to start creating your mood board without your found assets, and just maybe look at something for reference and try to create the base of your mood board in these solid basic foundations. Get your fonts laid out, get your color palettes laid out, put it into a project presentation that looks super cool, and then add some photos and found assets that you think can help inspire your project, so that you know when you sit down to work on your project, you know that all of those basics are covered. And I think that when you spend some time experimenting with your basics, with your fonts, with your colors, with your shapes and combinations of things, I think that you immerse yourself more in the theme and vibe and feel and aesthetic of the project you're going for, which will help you keep those things in mind as you move forward in your creation process, which I think will be cool. So how much time do we have left? I think we just have a couple of minutes here. And what I might do in these couple of minutes is I might just drag out some interesting shapes on here. So let's go ahead and I'll grab my ellipse, and we'll just set that right there. And maybe we'll fill this with our bright color, like so. And then let's go ahead and do another one. Let's go ahead and grab maybe our triangle, just putting some shapes here. And what I will do, if I can, yeah, let's bring this, just kind of round those a little bit. And I can fill these with different colors, things that I feel will kind of contrast nicely with the colors we've chosen. And then let's grab a square, just like so. We'll place that right in there. And let's transform this into a much brighter color. And then I could come in and kind of color these as well. Just, you know, have kind of an interesting variation if I want, whatever you'd like to do. But that is all the time that I have for you today, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you luck in creating your totally original mood board. And I can't wait to see if some of you move farther into a personal project or a client project with those base components in mind. So much love, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to download the starter file in the description if you haven't already, and join the Discord and post your work so that I and the other mentors can see it. And I can't wait to see what comes next, what you create, and I will see you folks tomorrow. Adios, everyone. If you haven't already.